beautiful. This is beautiful. I tell you what, the Ignite boys, they know how to do it. They're bringing down the fans for us, and we're chilling.
Yeah.
How you been, bro?
Good. 2 weeks as a free man, finally out of jail. Going through the ringer though. Fucking hell.
What's been happening?
I've just been reconnecting with the community. I didn't realize that this was going to
I
be
thought you
so
were going to
hard
say
for me.
nature, eh?
Nah, well, that's coming soon, but I didn't think it was going to be so hard.
What do you mean?
Well, I've been reflecting on it. I'm like, I was only in jail for 3 months. Like, people were making fun of me that I was complaining that I was in there for 3 months, like other inmates. Meanwhile, they're there for like 2 or 3, 4 years. And like, I didn't realize that this was going to be so hard trying to get my shit together again. Like, trying to find somewhere to live, trying to get my belongings, just trying to get access to a mobile phone, for example. I didn't realize that all these things that I thought was so simple and all of a sudden I took for granted when they get taken away from you. But yeah, it's been all right. I've been able to string a few positive days together now.
So how was it in there? Actually, no, firstly, for the people that don't know, why were you in jail in the first place?
Well, long story is that I got involved in all of this August last year where Melbourne started to go through its second lockdown. I'm like, this is just rubbish. So I got involved in it, got charged with incitement because we were promoting a protest for September 5th and then September, I think, 13th as well. Got restricted. I just had this desire to just rebel against all of the restrictions. Tried to encourage people to not be as scared as they were. Got to a point where I started to basically publish what I was doing and I was documenting it. So I was receiving messages from hundreds of people saying, how did you go from this city to that city? And I just filmed it. I just made people, I tried to encourage people and show people that there's nothing to be scared about. So like one time at the start of all this ordeal, I booked a flight from Melbourne to Gold Coast and I literally filmed myself going, hey guys, this is me walking into Melbourne airport and I'm jumping on a flight from here to Coolangatta and I'll check in with you guys once I get to Coolangatta. As soon as I got there, I checked back in on Instagram Live, hey guys, I'm in Gold Coast now. It was this easy and there was no one at the checkpoints. And I think that's why the government and the police wanted to make an example out of me because I was just breaching everything that they were trying to use to repel people from doing certain things. But again, I did that and then got to the point where everything culminated in Sydney because Sydney was just going hard. They had their own strike force coming down on anyone that was trying to breach the public health orders. And yeah, unfortunately I got picked off at the wrong place at the wrong time. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think even now I reflect on it and I still feel the exact same way. They're trying to build me into someone that is going to feel remorseful about the decisions that I made. But to be quite frank, I'm not remorseful because I still think that people should not be living in fear. Mm. And I went through 3 months of jail and I still I feel like I want to encourage more people now than before to just live without fear. Travel wherever you want to travel. Do whatever you want to do. But, you know, I got caught on the wrong side of it because I was documenting the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty interesting because same with those borders, they say you can't be moving around. And I'll just add this. We've been traveling from Melbourne to Vic, New South Wales to Vic, back and forwards all the time. They say you need a permit. They say there's border patrols. They say, you need 2 vaccines to get into Victoria. And then the last time we came in, they've packed up at the border, like no one's even there. But they did lift that recently. But yeah, when we came out, we noticed that you didn't even need any of that. Like it's just fear mongering, and they want to keep you in your states and really not seeing anyone.
Yeah, I've been watching the news nonstop for the last 20 plus months, and I don't think people realize is that the footage that they use is just all real footage. It's not even like live footage. So you might get a snapshot where someone's broadcasting live from in front of barricades, for example, but all the footage that they actually show in between of all the interviews and all the commentary, it's all real footage from like a year ago. Mm. So don't think that that's happening right in front of you. This is all stuff from like a year ago. I'm driving and I'm flying through the borders and there's nobody there. But because people see the imagery on TV all the time, they think, oh shit, I don't want to bump into that. I don't want to run into those circumstances. So maybe I don't do it.
Yeah.
Bro, did you just admit to committing a crime? Is that just what happened
shit.
just then?
Jump
And
cut.
did you just say the news is completely fake?
Yeah, but we know that.
Yeah, that's true.
That's why they're making stories out of us. Who are we? We're nobody.
Yeah.
But we're the biggest drivers of traffic for them now.
I feel like they're reaction channels. Like you had YouTube reaction channels. Now the news are just reacting to what like general people do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not really reporting on anything anymore. And how do you feel about that chick in Alice Springs? Where is she? Where was she? The one that was in quarantine camp? Have you seen that video?
Yeah, I saw that last night. I don't know. I feel like
Because you actually did 3 months for COVID-related.
I understand why
cases.
that's become a big story because she's actually at the quarantine facility at the moment.
Yeah.
But I think that there needs to be more attention put on what I've went through because I went through 4 correctional centers, 2 of the most notorious jails in the country, 1 supermax jail, and then 1 that's very, very well known to have some of the hardest prisoners in Australian history at Long Bay. So there's that. And then also the fact that I did 3 months. You know, there's people that are, and I don't want to make fun of the fact that they're only there for 14 days, but they're there for 14 days. I was in quarantine for 21 concurrent days. I didn't actually get to leave my cell for 3 weeks, and I'm in a shoebox. And then after that, 3 months total. So I've done, 8, 9 14-day incubation periods in a row. So I feel like there needs to be more light on my story, not because I'm an apologist or I want more attention on it, but this is where it can lead. I breached 4 public health orders. They gave me a 3-month sentence because they wanted to make an example out of me because I was apparently the one that needed to be made an example of. And this is where it can lead. You think that these quarantine facilities is the worst of it. Try going through Goulburn and Long Bay. I'm telling you, that's when you get a real rude awakening of how ruthless the environments can be.
Do you reckon it's because you were against the agenda, bro? You got Australians versus the agenda. You reckon that's because that's why?
Yeah, I can't. I wrote this down in my journal. I wrote down that ASIC. It was what ASIO, not ASIC.
Yeah.
ASIO.
ASIC's a sick brand.
ASIC's the business body. ASIO has a 40% budget towards far right extremists now.
What?
And I have this feeling that this brand that I've created is now like on the top of their anti-terrorist or far right extremist list.
They call everyone a
They're coming for all of us.
extremist,
Yeah.
eh?
They're trying to pass a bill now in Victoria
What?
against far right extremism.
Bro, it's a madness. It's a madness.
So how in jail? How actually was it? Because you're saying it was like worse than these quarantine camps in terms of how long people have been there in the I forgot the name of it, but yeah, how do you think the difference is, and why is it so much worse in jail for you?
Well, the two of the 4 that I was at, these are places that are 100+ years old, so the facilities are really, really old, and they're not well accommodating in terms like you're not trying to check into a 5-star hotel or anything, but they're not very well accommodating. The conditions are very, very poor. Whenever you need anything, it's almost like you have to go through 10 different hoops just to get like a printout, for example. You have to go through a whole bunch of hoops. But not only that, you're surrounded by a whole bunch of other criminals. So you're stuck between trying to have reciprocate with them and be on their side because there's like this culture in jail where everyone is looking out for each other. So if you're in green, you got to look out for the boys in green, no matter what. But then you're trying to stay on the good side of the corrections officers because you don't want them to charge you and then make your stint even longer. Yeah, so it's really, really difficult going through that process.
We got another shisha coming in.
Let's do it.
Here we go. Ignite. Brilliant. Lads over here.
Thank
As you guys seen at the start of this video, come say hello.
Awesome.
Legends.
Thanks very much.
What was your mentality going in there? Like when you were in court, because I'm sure you thought that you just, you would have not been locked up for these.
Yeah, I thought I was going to get away with it.
Yeah, so I can imagine you being there, being like, all right, we're all sweet. Like this is going to be thrown out the window. And then when the judge said what he or she, what was it, she?
Yeah.
When the judge said what she said, what was going through your mind then?
I definitely felt like I was entrapped because I learned that the Crown prosecutor was a police commissioner, and then the judge, both during my appeal and the actual trial, which was like a 10-minute process, were already dealing with COVID-related offences, and they were just trying to make an example out of everybody. But I actually posted a video where 2 girls put Newcastle and the Hunter region into lockdown, and they got a $4,000 fine. And that was actually a month before my case was in front of the same judge. And I'm just traveling around the country, just enjoying my right to be able to move around the country as a citizen. And I've gone into the slammer for 3 months, and I thought that was completely disproportionate. That's why I called it out.
And you didn't have COVID, like you weren't traveling with COVID, or you didn't pass COVID on. Those girls actually like locked the whole section of the state down.
Yeah.
Wait, but you don't know if you have COVID because it's no symptoms is a symptom.
No symptoms a symptom? Oh shit.
That's what we got told.
Yeah, is it asymptomatic? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
But even then, like I've been in crowds of literally so I was at the AFL Anzac Day game last year.
Yeah.
I think it was a record-breaking crowd during the pandemic. I think it was 76,000 people. I was at that event. I've been literally around hundreds of thousands of people at protests all over the country. I've been on flights all over the state, all over the eastern part of the country. I've been through 4 different jails. I've been in 2 filthy remand centres, and I have not even needed to reach for a tissue in the last 2 years. And that's what I'm saying. Like, if anything, they've only just strengthened my immune system by going through that.
You've gotten around, eh? I ain't gonna lie, you've gotten around. Women have seen you, and you have moved from place to place.
The one thing that's come out of this, I don't know if it's a positive or not. It would be a positive in the eyes of maybe some other guys, but coming out of jail has been like a great thing. Like it's given me this, it's been this aura that has like enhanced the likeliness to women. All of a sudden they love the fact that I've come out of jail and I'm like this bad boy. Like my DMs have just been absolutely trashed at the moment.
What's a girl pickup line? Girls are terrible at pickup lines, eh? Am I wrong or am I right? Like they're so bad. Have you had any good ones? They're usually like hi.
Nah, like I've been receiving a lot of, I'm so glad that you're out of jail. I hope that you're okay.
They're taking the sympathetic.
Yeah, there's a lot of sympathy at the moment.
See.
Yeah, the sympathy route is working great for me at the moment. It's doing wonders. I've been invited to dinners. I've been invited to just, meet up with a whole bunch of cool people. And I'm not trying to make fun of it, but it's been great. Like Sydney has opened up its arms for me, and anything that I've needed, I've just been given. But at the exact same time, I'm not trying to use my story to use it as a way to get around. Like I do love to take accountability for my own actions.
Yeah.
But it also has been difficult to try to adjust to the fact that I have to now become a resident of this state just because of the circumstances that I face.
Have you gotten one where they go, "Oh, Anthony, what was the most interesting thing that you learnt while being locked up?" What was the biggest thing you got out of that?
I don't know.
Anthony, can I wear your sneakers?
No, I didn't have any problems, but like a lot of people asking me, you know, hey, can you do this for me when you get out? Can you contact that person for me when you get out? I'm like, I'm not here to make friends with you, bro.
I'm here to take over. That's
Yeah,
a Conor
we-
McGregor.
yeah, we
like-
didn't here to, I'm not here to take part. I'm here to take over. Yeah. But I actually felt like that coming out of jail.
Oh, that's good because we did a tier list, and everyone
I
like,
saw that.
man, oh, people get butthurt, eh?
Oh, that's the real reason why we brought Anthony here today. We gotta talk about
Am I
that.
here to stay? Am I here to stay?
Are you
or
here
am
to
I
stay?
just.
Are you-
What was I graded as?
You
Right.
were a
You were-
senior. What was the
You're a
ranking?
senior. You're a senior. You're a
You
senior.
made an impact.
Made an
you
impact.
made an impact.
Yeah.
So
And
what
then-
was the thought process for that?
Yeah, so then we were like, all right. So he's made an impact, but whether he's here to stay would be if you came out of prison
Yeah.
and then you were like, oh, like I'm staying quiet now.
Yeah,
I'm taking everything, like whatever the government says I'll do.
Yeah.
Or you're going to just continue on a trajectory that you were before.
Yeah.
So then you made an impact, but whether you're here to stay, I guess we'll find out on the next tier list.
Well, I
People will
did.
hate that.
I did think about taking a break, maybe like a couple of months, just to get my life sorted.
Chill out. Yeah.
But the minute that I got out, the first thing that I wanted to do was first get a haircut because that's just critical for me. But then get my hands on a phone and just go on Instagram Live.
Yeah.
And I contemplated it that night, and then all of a sudden I'm like, screw it, let's just do it. So I got on the bus. I made my way to the Sydney Opera House, and then I started filming Alive. And everyone was like, "Oh my God, he's alive!"
How many Instagram accounts have they taken down now?
I think 6. Yeah, but I've been blacklisted all over the internet. Like my account on Airbnb has been taken down.
Wow.
I'm not even allowed to be a customer on Airbnb anymore. I'm not allowed to be on Tinder. I got banned on Tinder 2 days later.
On Tinder?
Yeah. I made a Tinder profile and I used the photo that they took of me, like the candid photo they took of me outside of the View Hotel.
Yeah.
The 4.5-star luxury hotel.
Yeah.
You know, the Australians took a photo of me and they headlined it like anti-lockdown protester living a life of luxury at Northern Sydney Hotel. And they tried to make it look like that I was just living this high life while everyone else was in lockdown.
Yeah.
But I
Media,
put
usual media.
yeah,
man.
I
They-
put that as my profile picture, and I think they saw that and they're like, "Nah, we're taking you down."
Damn.
So I've been blacklisted all over the internet at the moment.
What was your Tinder bio?
Oh yeah, so it said Anthony Khallouf, 29 years old. Don't look up my name on Google. And the reason why I put that is because I wanted women to look up my name on Google and see how stupid the circumstances.
I was like, that's exactly what they'll do.
Yeah. I wanted them to look my name up and see how much of a stooge I really am. And if you can deal with that, then we're good.
Yeah, I think it's wild. Google. What do you get when you Google your name?
Oh man, you get anti 5G, anti COVID.
you get the 5G and everything.
Sells stones. Thinks that the jab is deadly and that will give you injuries. Like no, but what I love about what they've done about me on the news articles, they did like 5 or 6, is that they actually screenshotted my post where I was like prophesizing where we'd be in the next year in terms of this whole in the world. Not prophesizing, we could easily see it coming. But so they screenshotted my status where I said, look, we have a government that's running internationally for a one world government. They want to stab each and every single one of you with the jab, and they're not going to stop. And there's a depopulation agenda, all this stuff. But the majority of what I wrote in that status that they screenshotted, that's still up there, that I wrote all before any of this happened, the majority has actually already come true. So I actually want that article to stay up there so people can see that it all played out the way I said it would.
What about yourself?
These are wild.
What comes up?
Mine comes up. He assaulted 2 officers, hindered arrest, and punched a horse.
Punched a horse.
That's whilst holding a mobile phone in the same hour.
Yeah.
It's wild, man. It's wild.
Yeah, no, that's crazy.
Yeah, so that was my experience in terms of social media. I got absolutely blacklisted everywhere. My Facebook got taken down, Instagram got taken down, everything got taken down.
Yeah. Censorship is wild. They took down Facebook, that 47 years that I got that ban for. They took down the YouTube, and they just got the censorship galore. They've taken down RDA now. They're on a tear, man.
Yeah. So like from here, because we have so much like censorship going on, I'm sure you've thought about how you want to move forward in the movement, or even how you want to move forward with yourself from here. How are you going to sort of go around that censorship, or is what you're planning to do now? Are you even going to have to worry about censorship, or?
Well, the last 3 months after the last 3 months that I've been observing the growth of the movement and the growth of everyone, like the individual personalities that we now see online. And it's great to see that, but reflecting on it, I see everyone basically doing what I was doing a year and a half ago,
100%.
which is basically curating all of the content that is, shared online, whether it be current news or the press conferences, and all the little snippets that make for viral content.
Yeah.
And I don't want to go back to doing what I was doing, because now it's what everyone else is doing. I'm always on a new creative pursuit. So I'm sure some people have realized I've only been posting on my personal Instagram because I want to be a personal identity now. And I think that's going to be the way that I go forward, at least for the time being. I just want to share my views and share my experience, because I feel like there's a lot of value to unearth from what I've been through, whether it be going to jail because of these restrictions and these public health orders, or whether it be the journey that we started off with in Melbourne. We all started this together, like me, you, Fanos. Like, we were the ones that really sort of...
Hold up, bro. Hold up. We were in it months before.
Yeah, you guys, yeah. And then I sort of I went in on a tear, hijacking the whole thing, man. Which is a whole another...
Wait, what happened? What happened?
But I screwed up as well back then.
Why?
All right.
I think we were all emotional at the time.
Yeah. Nah, there was a lot going on, but pretty much there were like locations organized. Anthony comes in and goes, man, this is where the location has to be, makes an event saying, and then there's just a lot of division. We're like, who is this Anthony guy? I've not seen him.
I remember the DMs that you sent me, like, who are you?
Yeah, it's like, he's from Melbourne. It's like, man, I haven't seen you at one protest. And then it's as if he's just like the organizer. You took the smiley face of Fanos, and we're like, nah, man, this has got to stop. But it's hard because it was such a crucial sort of time. So you don't want to completely just be like, all right, no, you do your thing, we'll do our thing, because at the end of the day, you sort of have a like, if you're organizing things, or if you're seen as someone who's respected sort of in the movement speaking out, then you sort of have a role to play in terms of representing the people below as well. And that's where I screwed up as well with that stuff back then.
Well, we didn't know where this was all going to take us at that time as well. And when I saw a bit of a delay in the pursuit to launch this smiley face, where it was going to be the launch of the event for the protest in September, I'm like, I started to reach my own personal breaking point. And when I made the decision, the ultimate decision, to just first one to
breaking point at the breaking point.
When I was at my breaking point, thinking, you know what, screw this, I'm gonna start posting about this and become outspoken. I thought it was the perfect time, because this was when everyone was at their most heightened emotional state.
Yeah.
And yeah, I capitulated. I posted that, and then everything just went from there. Like, it skyrocketed. I put that Facebook event up as 500,000 people to end the Victorian lockdown. Remember that? And that went from 0 to over 40-something thousand people in just under, I think, a week.
Did you spend any money on ads? Or
that was all organic as well. That was when Facebook was still good for content and, organic reach.
Well, I remember they were taking down protest events. Just an event, they would take that down.
Yeah, they eventually took that one down.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was when this all started. We all started to get sick of all this. We launched that event. There was a whole bunch of disarray and confusion between all of us. We didn't know who was who and what was what. But you know, we've come so far now. We're a year and a half into this, and now we're like, I wouldn't say we're a well-oiled machine, but we're almost there. We've got systems in place. We've delegated responsibilities to certain people, and we know what we want to achieve now. And the most important thing is that we've now reached critical mass. We've got the attention of all age groups and all demographics.
Yeah.
We're no longer this niche little cult group that we were at the start of this.
Anti-lockdown.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd just like to add that I'm not part of this. I still got a court case on. They still think that I did the entire July 24th Sydney protest. So I'm not involved in doing any protests. Channel 9 just plastered me all over. It was like, this is the organizer of the illegal Sydney event. Yeah, so I'm still in court. So I'm not involved in whatever they just said. I didn't even hear it. But true.
But what I like about like what you said and what's good about us here is that we've been in the movement, or at least for like a fair bit of time now. And you're seeing people who are making content that we used to do, like lives, heaps of news posts and stuff, but everyone's doing the same thing. And I feel like what's good about being here in the movement for such a long time, it's like you're looking at these people, and I won't name them, I'm sure you know who they are, the people that just constant lives, constant news. They're doing the same thing that we were doing pretty much a year ago, maybe even over a year ago now.
Name them.
Name them.
Nah.
No, I'm joking.
That will have to be for the next tier list.
There's too much. The tier list. I was like, is the fun naming. What's all this BS that's going on right now? They just need to chill out. That's my 2 cents. Yeah. But
yeah. But
sorry, bro, not to cut you off.
It's all good. No, but it's good that you're thinking forward and not doing the same thing. Because but what is good is that you have more people now where we don't have to do that, and we can get on to the next step of
exactly. Yeah. So we can look at new creative pursuits to get the attention of more people. So while they are getting the attention of more people through what we were doing previously, we can start to reach into the next layer of people through a different creative pursuit. And this is where I think we will keep on evolving, because I feel like the government will eventually hit a point where they will stagnate, and I think they already have. Because everyone's starting to pick on the fact that this is all just systematic. It's like the infinite sign. They're just going through the same routine. And people are already picking up on the fact that this is all just one systematic routine where they're just going to go through the same thing. A new variant, a new lockdown, a new set of restrictions, and just try to go through the same thing. Meanwhile, we are forced to be creative in how we do things. And this is how we're going to be able to reach more people. And they don't have the luxury of being able to do that. They have their set template of what they're going to do, and we can just do whatever we want. We can endeavor into so many different creative realms where we can just do anything. Like, I don't know what I want to do at the moment. I'm trying to still figure that out, but I feel like I've been receiving a lot of feedback on just being casual about my approach. The positive feedback that I've received is that they don't like to engage in certain personalities that are online at the moment, because they're trying to get into the world of politics. They're trying to get into the world of media. Me, I'm just a disgruntled personal trainer that wants his life back. And that's what I think everyone else is. They're just a disgruntled citizen of the country and the state, and they just want their life back. And I think that's how I've been able to connect with so many people.
Do you think, because like, at least for me, what I'm seeing is that everyone's doing their own individual things, and I think that's sort of working against us in a way. And I know it's difficult to work with people because everyone sort of wants to do their own thing, but have you thought about collaborating in some way with when you go forward, or do you feel like you want to keep it Anthony, Australia's Best, the agenda, and that's it?
Well, one thing that I did fear being in jail for so long was that people would forget who I was, because it did derail me in terms of the momentum that I had. The momentum that I had up until I got arrested was just at an all-time high. Social media was growing exponentially. Every time I had an account taken down, we would run up 10, 20,000 followers almost within, days. But now I feel like because everyone else has had time to run numbers ahead of me, I've been forgotten in a way. Like the internet, it's not even just this. Just think about in general, the internet's very forgetting. You know, you see your most favorite YouTubers, they take a 3-month break or a 6-month hiatus, and they'll be forgotten by their subscribers, and they can have millions of subscribers. But if they're not posting content every day or every week, their followers will forget them. And that's kind of how I sort of felt in terms of just the social media aspect of it. But because I've been receiving so much reinforcement, positive reinforcement from people that know what value I can contribute, it's allowed me to feel like, you know what, I've run into a bit of a hurdle, but as long as I continue to do what I'm doing, I will still have those loyal people that will believe what I have to say and want to engage in what I have to say. And, you know, ultimately I can provide just that little bit of value proposition to the bigger picture.
Yeah.
So I try not to focus on these little things about social media. I try to think about the value proposition that I can add to the movement. And I'm trying to look at this as like a business sort of thing. This is my value proposition. And hopefully we can all add our own different bit of value. And then it becomes this big, powerful, almost like conglomerate. Like if we was to look at the movement as a business, we are this giant conglomerate trying to face against the conglomerate of the government.
When you were inside, right, and like from a positive perspective, there's in terms of collaboration and in terms of people in the movement that have, you know, come about out of nowhere. When you came out, who's some content creators that, you know, you were like, oh, this person's doing really cool, has done some really cool stuff, or this person's new, but I really like what they're doing. Like, who's some, like, from a positive sense, who do you think, like, who would you give credit to that is doing some cool stuff?
To be honest, I actually don't like what any of them are doing.
I'm trying to bring people together here. God damn it.
And again, I'll tell you why. It's literally because, like, I'm just talking from me personally.
They just need to be locked up for 3 months.
They're just doing what I was doing before.
Yeah.
And it doesn't bother me that they're doing it, but I feel like I'm looking at it the lens of someone that was forced to look at a different creative aspect. I had social media taken away from me for 3 months.
Yeah.
I wasn't allowed to look at what everyone else was doing. So I was forced into a new part of my brain where I needed to be creative in a different way. So I started journaling, like, what thought processes would I have and what creative pursuits will I endeavor in.
Did you do a journal in jail? That's sick.
Yeah.
That's interesting as fuck.
I didn't want the 3 months that I was in to go unaccounted for, because I could go to jail for 3 months, try to make it feel like 3 months was just done and dusted, gone, and then move on with it. But for me personally, I wanted to be accountable for the time that I was there, because I didn't want to feel like 3 months of my life was taken away from me. I wanted to add credibility to the 3 months that I still lived.
Yeah.
I still lived 3 months. I still had documented history where I knew what I did on certain days. I knew what parts of certain aspects of my thought process on certain days were. I wanted it to be all accounted for. I didn't want to feel like that was taken from me, because that was like at certain times that was the only thing that was holding me together. Just having accountability for the time that I was in there for. The one thing that I didn't want to feel like the government, I didn't want to feel like the police had one up on me. I didn't want to feel like they took time away from my life without me being able to hold on to it and give it value.
So essentially, they gave you time to write a book.
Yeah, 100%.
In a way, that's good, man. That's really good. And you still got those journals and everything.
Yeah, I still got it. But I think this whole thing that we've gone through over the last 2 years would make for a great book as well.
Yeah. Both.
But how to document it and curate all the stories is something that I probably would need help with.
Yeah.
Because there's so much to unearth. Even the little story, or even the little prison stories that I've got that I've told people, I can't unearth them without someone asking me the right question. But like, for example, the one that I was telling you before. So at Goulburn Supermax Jail, I was there for the last 4 weeks of my stint. They tried to enroll me in work, to actually work at the jail. And within the third day of me,
well, they're offering
working,
jobs in jail.
Yeah, they're offering jobs.
You can
in jail.
get jobs in jail. Oh, that sounds better than out here. Like.
So part of the trade-off of being in a minimum security section, because I'm not a criminal where I've gone and committed a serious drug offense or a serious murder or criminal offense. Part of the trade-off of being in a minimum security is working. So they try to enroll me in a couple of jobs. One job that you can do is working in the kitchen to prepare meals for the other inmates, and another job is doing the demountables, which is those buildings that they're currently using for the quarantine facilities all over the country. I'm like, I don't want you $4 a day charity to participate in this slave labor. So I literally put in a refusal to work, and then they put me in the sack line of the assembly. So
Bro, you need to break this
3-4
down,
hours.
what this means, because I have no idea.
Yeah,
So what is a sack line?
So every 3-4 hours, 3 times a day, you'll have an assembly where everyone goes to the yard and lines up in their designated line, and it's basically just to get your name ticked off to make sure that you haven't escaped.
Right.
So we'll have that assembly, and there's a dedicated line at Goulburn where there's a sack line of 3 or 4 inmates that have refused to work, and I was the shining light of that line because I was at the front of it.
And, bruh, so wait, there's so much to break down there. So you're saying that they're paying $3 to $4 to people to build quarantine camps in jail as slave labor.
Yeah. So if you want to talk about those quarantine facilities that they've already got in Howard Springs, they're currently building them in Queensland. I think they're doing one in Mickleham somewhere in Victoria. All of these buildings are built by inmates, and they're just about to house civilian inmates in them now. So this whole thing has come full circle. It's crazy, eh?
We're back to prison times, man.
Yeah.
This is a prison island in general.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
What's a nice time you had in prison? Is there any good, fond memories?
Fun memories. My weekly buy-ups, being able to buy $100 worth of confectionery is always great.
Do they give you like an allowance per week?
Yeah. So you have a $100 limit of groceries that you can buy every week. And the paper that they give you, it's literally like one of those exam papers where you have to highlight the little circle.
Oh, right.
It's like an answer sheet. You know those answer sheets?
Yeah.
So it has, 1, 2, 3, 5, 10, 20. So that's the quantity of each item. And I would highlight 20 cans of Pepsi Max every week.
Wow.
And then I would highlight, I think maybe a packet of M&Ms, a packet of Skittles, a packet of just every bit of confectionery that I could afford, I just bought. And then I would buy a whole bunch of mee goreng and a whole bunch of tuna, because that was the only satiable type of food that I would actually eat, because everything else through the jail system was disgusting.
Wow.
So if you're looking for a cuisine or a nice meal, don't go to jail.
What would you have got, Ro? What would you have ticked?
Turkish delight.
Turkish delight. That's
Yeah.
a good
What
treat.
about you?
I think Turkish Delight was on there.
Yeah, I would have.
Oh,
Did they have sneakers?
Yeah. I think they did.
Yeah,
I had Twix bars.
Twix.
Yeah.
Did they have anything healthy? Like, are we talking kangaroo jerky? Could I get some kangaroo jerky? Some liver? Could I get some beef liver?
Nah, the healthiest thing I would say would be tuna. Like some high protein, high quality tuna.
Did you meet anyone in there that's like was decent? Like,
Yeah,
some
everyone
people?
was pretty nice. Like I didn't have any disputes with anybody. Things were pretty sweet. There was one little incident that I did experience when I was at Long Bay, where one of the boys was adamant to smoke tea leaves from a like a Bushells tea bag because he was so desperate for a ciggy, and he instead of using like cigarette paper, he used. This is really, really bad, but this is what happened. He literally tore a page out of the Bible.
What?
So he would roll his ciggy, which is tea leaves from a Bushells.
Is that
tea
because it
bag.
was thin paper?
And because it was thin paper, yeah,
right.
yeah,
Yeah,
and he
yeah,
would
yeah.
light that up, yeah, and then because the smoke is billowing out of the cell into the wing, the corrections officers could see and smell the smoke like that. Next thing you know, they're opening the door and saying, "Where is it? Where's the smoke? Where's the ciggies?" I'm thinking, it's not me, and I'm looking at my cellmate like, "Come on, bro." And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Next thing you know, our whole cell's getting raided. We're getting strip searched. I'm just thinking, this is the lowest of the low. Like that was a dehumanizing experience when they strip search you for something that you didn't even do. But you don't want to rat on your boy because he's going to fucking stab you in the middle of the night. But you don't want to get in trouble with the corrections officers because they're going to charge you. So I'm just thinking, say nothing. Do nothing, be nothing.
But he could have said it's tea because
Yeah.
it's green tea, sir.
Yeah.
It's we've got some chamomile teas
Chamomile tea, yeah.
with some honey.
Yeah.
Please come in.
Yeah. Join
We
us.
we got a whole range here.
Yeah.
We got some sleep tea that
Yeah.
you can smoke.
Yeah, that was a bizarre experience. So yeah, there was that. But I don't know, it's been hard to unearth these experiences because I try and I've just put them in the back of my head. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw an interview with Spanion on Friendly Geordies where he said he didn't want to watch TV in jail. He wanted to just stare at the wall and
Yeah.
just be one with his thoughts.
Yeah. I was the complete opposite.
Yeah.
The minute that I got in jail and I knew that you could get a TV, I was begging for one. I was begging for a TV because I'm like, this is the only thing that's going to keep me connected to reality right now.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'll go insane. But then the TV started to piss me off and he was saying that. He said during that podcast that watching TV, 18 hours a day, nonstop, it starts to make you think like you're going insane. Someone's just talking rubbish to you
Yeah.
almost on cycle. And I felt that way as well. So I had to balance between watching TV, trying to stay connected with what was happening in the real world because I actually documented, I think maybe there was 12 or 13 protests that happened while I was in jail. And I was thinking, how can these people put me in jail for inciting a protest while there's all these protests going on and I'm not actually participating in it? But yeah, I use TV as a way to sort of distract me. I use journaling as a way to distract me and keep me engaged and focused. And then I used exercising as another pursuit to try to keep my mental health in check as well. Yeah.
How were you able to exercise there? Did you have weights?
Oh,
or?
it's great. I'll tell you what we were doing. So I got moved to Nowra, South Coast Jail, and the boys are so creative. They would get plastic bin bags and fill it up with water and then just use that as weights. And they'd wrap it up in greens, which is your prison clothing. And we would use that as weights. So you'd get the bar of like a vacuum, for example, and then you'd put 2 bags of like 10 kilos worth of water and just use that as a bench. And this is how we got our bench press on.
Wow.
Yeah. But then there was one time where the corrections officers cracked the shits at all of us in the wing using prison greens as a way to make weights, and then they just sliced them all up. So yeah, they were pretty savage in there.
And then besides that, did you do any other exercises like dips or?
Yeah.
Pretty much. Were there other weights you used, or was it mainly body weight exercises?
It depended on where I was. At Long Bay, there's access to almost nothing. It's just water bags. Nowra, it was just water bags. At Goulburn, there's actually a cable machine. There's boxing gloves. now Goulburn, despite the fact that it's a supermax jail, they do have equipment there. They're much more better equipped for exercising. So I guess that's a trade-off for being in such a big, high-security jail.
Now I got a big question for you.
Ooh.
Did someone try to touch you in jail?
I saw all the comments. All the comments that all the ABC fucking apologists, all the people that were like, "Oh, look at you, you're a sucker for going to jail," blah blah blah. It's not anything like that.
Wait, so what do you mean these ABC apologists? Like, what's that?
So people were making fun of me, like all the people that are like all
On your
left wing,
social?
yeah, on my socials, like all the comments
okay.
all my comments were getting slammed because they were trying to make fun of me. Oh, don't drop the soap while you're in jail, blah 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 blah. I'm like, all the guys there have respect for each other. Like it's you go there and your dignity is not held together. They put you there to try to take away your dignity. But all the inmates there actually help you keep that up because they're going through their struggles as well. And we're all men in there. We're all trying to keep our integrity intact, keep our dignity intact, and respect each other. And that's one thing that I learned is that outside you think that there's this prison culture where, you know, everyone will try to give you a hard time, but everyone's there to just try to hold themselves together. At the end of the day, I had no problems with that. It was great. Like people look at you and respect you as long as you respect them. If you want to ask someone about why they're in jail, you make sure that they bring it out. You don't try to get it out of them. There's this misunderstanding with prison culture. But yeah, I think the biggest thing that I took away is that people do try to keep your integrity and dignity in place because everyone is there having to deal with their own struggles. So that's completely misrepresented. But not only that, just the comments, for example, they were all slandering me and trying to make fun of me while I was in there. The minute that I got out and I was back on social media, crickets. They're not saying anything.
Why do you guys get so much hate, eh? Like, you both just get haters. Like, I
We're
don't
very
get it.
polarizing personalities. But I think that's why people like us as well.
That's true.
It's either you're going to like us or hate us. There's no in between.
That's
Yeah.
true. That's true. I'm an in-betweener.
You'll start getting the hate as soon as this episode is out. They're gonna be like, hold up. Like, and my trolls are gonna be like, hold up, who's this guy? I've seen him again.
I get
on
hate.
Yoke Time.
I get
And,
hate for trying to be funny. They're like,
They say
why are
you're
you
not
making light of really serious situations, dude?
They just don't
bruh.
get your sense of humor.
Yeah, I know. Fucking bunch of distilled waters.
What do you have to say to the haters in terms of like what you're doing though? Because none of us are actually speaking up to make people feel bad or anything like that. We're here to speak up and take our country back pretty much. So what would you tell them in terms of that? Like what you're doing it for, and also, yeah.
I don't have many of them,
Yet.
but the ones that don't like comedy, smile more. Smile more. That's what I'd tell them. What would you tell them?
Isn't that Rowan Atwood's?
Yeah. Roman Atwood.
Yeah.
Smile more.
Smile more? Is
That's-
that
yeah,
Roman
That's
Atwood?
his slogan, yeah.
Hey, Roman, smile less. Smile less. What would you say to your haters, bro?
Come at me.
Come at me, bro.
Come at me. I was in jail. I was in jail. This is what I'm saying. I was in jail. They were talking shit this whole time. The minute I jump online, crickets. Not only that, there was one guy that I actually put on. I don't want to say his name, but he'll know exactly who he is talking about it. He was talking shit about me just a few days ago on Instagram Live with 3 other people. There was a spot for me to jump on. I went on a burner account, requested to jump on that live. I jump on, he accepts my request, and he's dead silent. It's like he saw a ghost.
Oh, who
Yeah.
is it? Now I'm trying to like rack through my brains.
Yeah,
Do you know in your head who it is?
I have an idea as to who, because I've been seeing lives where there's 3-4 people and they've been pretty consistent.
Oh, so his
It's Waleed, wasn't it?
Nah.
From the project.
Nah, they hit me up though. I don't know if you saw that, but the project hit me up.
Oh, what they
wanted
saying?
They wanted to do an interview about the protests in July.
Oh.
But I think it was July or August, but I just missed it. So I got an email from Four Corners, ABC, and from the project to do interviews with them.
Yeah.
But I missed out because I got taken to jail. So I was kind of like, I missed out on an opportunity to talk shit at all these left-wing bastards in their face on their platform. But yeah, also his Instagram handle, I don't even want to give him a plug, but he knows who he is. He ain't getting a plug out of me.
What's the first letter?
F.
F.
Yeah.
Of his Instagram handle?
His Instagram handle.
F.
Yeah.
And his next one is...
Too easy. We'll have to do it.
I had Channel 9. Channel 9 gave a little reach out. They tried to do a reach around. I was like, nah, don't touch there.
Oh, this would have been perfect to get, what's that game where you guess who's like...
Guess who.
Guess who.
Nah.
So you get everyone's faces who starts with F in the movement, and then you ask, do they have blonde hair?
Pick a
and
vowel.
you put them down.
What was that show that's on like Channel 7 like 20 years
The
ago?
Block.
No. The
20
Block.
years ago.
I watched a lot of The Block when I was in jail.
Did
oh
ya?
my God.
You know how to build a house now?
Nah, but I know how to fucking not want to watch TV ever again.
Okay.
I watch a lot of The Block. I watch so much of The Chase Australia that I actually picked on the fact that I started to watch reruns. That's how much of The Chase that I watched. You know you watch too much TV when you pick on the fact that you're watching a rerun the next week.
I like the Chasers. Do you remember those guys? No?
Chase's War and everything.
Yeah.
You're talking about? Yeah. That's when TV was good.
Yeah, that was when I think there was Cheese TV and everything.
Do you remember the thing that they did after September 11 where the guy dressed up as Osama bin Laden and tried to run up towards, I think it was John Howard at the time, at the Sydney Opera House, and they just breached security like it was nothing?
Oh yeah, how can they allowed to do that? And like, I can't even enter the CBD of my city. Like, what is that about?
Well, that was the false flag that gave them the powers to do what they're doing now.
Yeah, true.
Think about all of the, like, what was the thing called? The Patriot Act. The Patriot Act gave them all these surveillance powers over just any citizen. That was what led to where we are now, 20 years later. You can't do what they did on that episode of Chasers now. You do that now, you're going straight to jail.
It's sad, man. It's sad. It's sad that we're in a state where you can't make fun of like politicians face to face. Wouldn't it be cool if you could like, nah, forget about it.
They're trying to put bills in front of Parliament now to like make sure that far right extremists don't have a channel anymore.
Yeah,
they're trying to shut us all down.
That Dan Andrews bill got passed. What do you think about like if you got? Are you happy that you got arrested in New South Wales rather than in Victoria? Do you think the sentencing would have been worse if they got you for some COVID breach in Victoria?
Maybe before the bill I would have been okay, but now it probably would be worse because they've got a whole bunch of these different penalty units where they can do a whole bunch of wild stuff, whether it be give you like a $40,000 fine or send you to jail without having the opportunity to go in front of a judge or a magistrate. Although I think that got changed recently as part of the amendments. But I don't know. I don't want to go back to Melbourne regardless. I think Melbourne has had its soul taken away from it. It's like its heart's been ripped out. I don't think Melbourne will ever be the city that ranks the most livable city in the world. I don't think that'll ever happen again. But also walking around and navigating through Sydney CBD over the last couple of weeks and navigating through Brisbane and Gold Coast over the 5 weeks that I was up there as well. As much as I feel like Melbourne's soul has been taken away from it, it's happened everywhere.
Yeah.
I think it's almost like a ubiquitous experience around the world. The soul and the joy out of life has been taken away from everywhere that you go. I don't see people smiling and like feeling. I don't see the vibrant look in people's like in the skin anymore. I don't see vibrance and joy in the life of people anymore. I just see everyone looking depressed. And that's why I love what we do, because what we do gives value to our lives, and what we do is network and engage in community.
Yeah.
And they've tried to take this away from us, and yet this is probably the first time in my life where I have an endless desire to pursue that now.
Yeah.
So as much as the fact that they've tried to take this away from me, it's only want me to do more to pursue that. And I wouldn't. One thing that I would encourage out of everything is encourage people to do that, pursue that
Community.
that community,
Yeah.
Because this is the one thing that if they take away from us, we are all screwed. We're like literally holding this shit together by a thread.
It's crazy.
Community greater than society. That's what I always say.
Yeah. And who would have thought, like, there's not many people out of the percentage of Australia who are speaking out against this. So it's crazy how, in a sense, we're the ones that are holding the line.
Yeah.
Because without anyone speaking up, without people going to protest, all of that, far out. I don't even want to know where Australia would be. I'm sure everyone would be on their 4th or 5th booster shot already. Like, literally.
Yeah.
The camps would have been opened a year ago.
Yeah.
I mean, but they wouldn't have even needed the camps if no one spoke up, if they were that compliant. But the best thing is that, and even though it's a difficult situation, is that like, we've all been hit down. Like, everyone's had their own individual challenges, whether it be losing their jobs, vaccine injured, relatives getting vaccinated, and anything like that. But like, we don't stop because how critical like it really is. This isn't a hobby for us. It's not like we can just decide to stop speaking out and doing what we do, because this is literally the way that we are going to live our lives this moment going forward, and even like our children and our children's children. So yeah, like, they can try and take it away from us as much as they want, but I don't believe it will ever stop. Like, as long as they don't bring out some law, and I feel like it will come to this. Like, so basically, like the cyber attack that people are talking about, where like the power will go out for a few months or more, whatever. I don't know when it will be, but when they bring it back online, they'll say that everyone's accounts have been hacked. So the only way you can sign into your social medias is no longer through your Google account, your Facebook account. It will be, you have to sign in through your government ID.
Yeah.
And then from there, I feel like they may be able to stop people from speaking up. But even then, if people really have personal community, like not just online, and they get amongst people on a weekly basis or whatever, then whether the online stuff is gone, people will still be able to make an impact in their own way.
Yeah, in the book 1984, they eventually break Winston. They eventually break him, and he ends up becoming someone that is a slave to the government indoctrination. The problem that I want to tell the government of Australia and all the big players in this agenda is that they have already distributed the playbook through 1984, for example, and it allows us to know that we have to be more resilient to not be broken, because they think in their heart of hearts that they will eventually break all of us. But I don't think they realize just how resilient people like us are truly. Like, I've gone through some difficult times in my life before all of this, and it's only just made me more resilient to be in a moment like this where I can go through the hardships that we've gone through right now and be able to come through the other side unscathed. And this is the thing. They think that at the end of all of this, however long they want to put this agenda, how long they want to roll this agenda on for, they're going to break all of us. But I don't think they realize just how resilient we are. And they're gonna be in for a rude awakening when they realize that we have more stamina than them.
Of course, yeah. So, what's like your foundation, and also, were you or others reading, let's say, for example, the Bible in jail, or you, or was anyone preaching that to you, or if not, where do you find that foundation for yourself?
For me, I've always been a very self-aware individual, but it's definitely come from the fact that my mum has from a very young age forced me to just be a very independent person. So this is a bit of a funny story. So as soon as you turn 14, 9 months, you're eligible to get a job. So the minute that I turned 14, 9 months, my mum dropped me off at Red Rooster and goes, go in there and get a job. So I walk inside Red Rooster with a piece of paper that was allegedly my resume. And next thing you know,
he could do the laundry.
Yeah.
He cleans the kitchen well.
Yeah, and I become a kitchen
Cleaned
hand.
his bed. Yeah.
So I become a kitchen hand, and she's like, "All right, sweet, you got a job there as a kitchen hand, wonderful. Now you have to earn your own money." So from the minute that I turned 14, 9 months, I had to become self-sufficient.
Yeah.
And I think that was the first point in my life where I became independent and also self-aware that I had to earn my way through this life. And having that self-awareness has allowed me to get through the difficult times that I've had, whether it be my grandparents passing, like my grandfather passing, having, tremendous financial difficulties, making decisions where I burnt a lot of bridges with people, and having to deal with the consequences of those decisions that I made in my past. It's allowed me to become more resilient. And it's allowed me to be in this moment in history where I know that if I can go through all those situations and come out the other side, then this will be a walk in the park for me. It is taking a little bit out of me. Like, I do feel like I need some time to reflect and look after myself, and I do encourage people to do that as well. But at the exact same time, it has made me more of a resilient individual as well. And I'm sure that this has conditioned people to be more resilient as well, like yourself as well. I think that you probably feel like you can do anything now.
Yeah. Oh, I just got to beat this 38-year case, and then I'll be able to do anything. But yeah, no, you're completely right. It's the people that are speaking up, they just have a lot of heart, and you can see that.
Yeah.
And they have a lot of passion. That's why they bump heads sometimes. But at the end of the day, we're all fighting the same cause. Yeah. And there are a lot of resilient people out there. And I was speaking to Nick Patterson, and he was, he runs a MMA gym. And he's had over 40 fights, and he's realized there was people that he didn't think would stand up at all, but he can now see the massive heart that they have. Yeah. And other people who he thought were these huge, like, mean-looking guys that would stick up against the government and will protect anyone, he found that they weren't who he thought they were. And you're completely right. Like, we're not stopping at all. Yeah. And they're going to run out of stamina before we do. 1,000% agree with that. I'm with you there. Were you in jail when Gladys got done?
Yeah, I'll never forget this. This was a great day. This is a hilarious story. I'm so glad that you brought this up. So I just begin to pack my stuff up at Long Bay because I get a call over the knock-up intercom inside my jail cell, and the person goes, "Khallouf," and I'm like, "Yes," and then they go, "Pack your shit." I'm like, "Okay," so I start packing my shit, and I get told that I'm getting moved to South Coast, Nowra jail. So I get transported to Nowra. As soon as I get to Nowra, we're quarantining for 7 days because Nowra is actually the quarantine facility for Goulburn. So I'm doing 7 days of quarantine at Nowra. The first day that I get at Nowra, I think it was October the 1st, I'm in a cell with one of the other boys I get transported with. I see on the news Gladys walk out looking like she's all teary-faced and all depressed, and she starts to do a spiel saying that she's resigning. I'm in the cell and I am dancing. I'm literally fist pumping, and my cellmate's looking at me like, "Are you okay, bro?" I'm like, "Just let me have this moment." And I'm literally fist pumping, dancing. And thank God this is a big cell because I'm literally celebrating like it's a birthday party or something. It was a great moment. And I wrote that down in my journal. I'm like, 1st of October, 2021, Gladys Berejiklian resigns. And then like a week later, John Barilano resigns. Yeah. I'm like, the house of cards is falling. And I don't have to do anything.
Oh my gosh.
It was such a great moment. It was beautiful.
got done for. I can't believe people were putting flowers at the front of her place after she's just got done for corruption.
Yeah.
That was wild. I didn't get that.
And then it's third day or fourth day that I get out of jail.
Yeah.
I make the pursuit up to her office and take that photo.
Yes.
Saying that this is my city now.
Yeah. As soon as you come out.
Yeah. I was thinking about taking that photo the whole time that I was in jail. I'm like, if Gladys resigns, I'm making this city my bitch. And the way that I declare that is that I take a photo out of your old office. This is my house now.
Bruh, as soon as I remember her coming out exactly like that, just teary, looking all sad. And then the emails come out that the health officials or whatever they are, they're not really that healthy to me. They come out and they said that they told her to lock the entire city down, and she chose to just lock Western Sydney out. Yeah. So she chose to turn her back on her own people, on her own heritage.
Not only that, she had 2 weeks notice as well. She was told 2 weeks before she announced the lockdown, that there was a party that could have been a super spreader event, but she decided not to put the state in lockdown.
Yeah.
So, and she will never get punished for that.
Nah.
I get punished for wanting to participate in freedom of expression and freedom of movement. And she disregards public health information from her colleague and doesn't get anything for it. You know what I mean? That's what bothers me. We get sanctioned so hard and these people get away with it.
Yeah.
Where's the accountability?
100%.
This is where democracy is breaking in this country, where there's no accountability. Like there's no fair share of democracy and discipline and accountability. I'm happy to take 3 months on the chin, just as long as she gets punished.
Yeah, accordingly.
Accordingly, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what bothers me.
Yeah. I'm right with you, man.
She'll go away with her pension and love life, and they're saying that she'll be able to pursue a career in being a public speaker and get paid tens of thousands of dollars for each thing that she does. Good on her. But where's the accountability? Where's the accountability for all the things that she didn't do correctly?
Yeah.
She'll never get the same punishment. That's what I don't like about the state of affairs at the moment.
The whole system's a mess, man. Like, Ghislaine Maxwell is facing 40 years and I'm here facing 38. 2 years difference. What is this world? Like, Ghislaine Maxwell is facing only 2 years more than I am. Is that not insane? Like the whole, it's a mess. Do you see any political party? Like, do you see anything like in any of the political parties that you like? Like anything?
I don't like politics. I've never been politically engaged.
Neither have I.
To begin with. I remember when I was working at Fitness First in Melbourne Central, and I'd see a protest almost every day outside of the State Library, and I'd be like, what are these idiots doing? And now all of a sudden I'm coordinating what those idiots used to do. I've never been politically engaged, but now this has forced me to become politically engaged. But I don't like the state of affairs in Australia. I think I saw this thing on ABC where they actually believe that Australia is more corrupt pound for pound than America, because we're such a small country. We're such a small, isolated country. So the amount of corruption can be condensed and isn't under the same scope of scrutiny as it is in America because of the population.
And they have the founding fathers who were brilliant people.
Yeah.
Do you what political party do you like?
None of them.
None of them as well.
None of them.
Really?
Yeah, like
not even UAP.
Nah.
One country.
Nation.
Nah.
One nation.
I don't know them. Like, unless you're, if I were to support someone, unless they're willing to sign on a piece of paper that if they sort of go against what they're claiming that they'll do and all of that and not end up being corrupt once they get into the position they want to be in, then sure, I'll support them if they can put that on a line and say that they'll be punished in a certain way for breaking that. But until then, it's just all words, and I can't. And just because we don't know these people, none of them. Doesn't matter how good they look. Doesn't matter how much they say. Oh, I stand for freedom. All of this, like, nah, really none of them. But my opinion is that it's too late for politics in a way, and that's not. And I made a post on this like a couple of days ago, and that's not to discourage people, because I feel like you need to be attacking them from every angle. You need content creators. You need people that are lawyers. You need people that do the work online. You do need politicians in a way to fight the fight. You need him from every angle. But I feel like the globalists, and I'm not even going to say globalists because the world is not a globe in my opinion, but let's not get into that. But the people that run this world, they orchestrated the biggest false flag event on the entire world, and they were able to infiltrate literally every single government of the world in order to achieve their agenda, the next step in terms of digital IDs, vaccines, censorship, all of this stuff. So I feel like if you're going to try and work your way up with small parties, or if you think that you're going to make a difference with a few votes from people, it's way too late for that. It's way too late. These people want a one world government. We already sort of have that in a way with the United Nations, World Health Organization. And you think that you're going to make an impact. And that's not to discourage once again, because I could be wrong. But I feel like it's too late to put all your eggs in one basket in sort of politics. I feel like we can make more of an impact outside of that. And that's my personal opinion. I feel like we got to go different avenues.
Yeah, I just don't have faith in any of them. If anything, there needs to be a clause written in every politician's, like, I don't know how they do this stuff, but like, how you have in like an employment contract, there needs to be a clause in like their employment contract that says that if you, like, it's like an accountability clause. Like if you deviate from any of the promises that you make, you're out straight away. And not only that, you're out and then you're penalized for that. There needs to be like some sort of old school accountability held for these politicians.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, go on.
No.
Yeah, like even a decentralized type of voting way as well. Like whereas, like let's say the bill, sure, you have politicians who work their way up to make these sorts of decisions, but I do feel like the people must have a say as well in terms of this. Like I feel like the people should be able to appoint certain individuals, and just individuals, like everyone has a vote in this. So then it's not like we're being paid to choose certain people, but a way where you can have certain people chosen and have a debate with these politicians as to why they want to bring in certain things. And then the people can watch this on a live stream, whoever wants to be a part of it, and have their say, have their word, and raise their concerns. Because as of now, we're really just being ignored, and we know that there's corruption, like in Australia especially.
I think that would be a great way to govern society, to like allow us to actually be politically engaged and make live commentary on things, and let it be a part of the process of these decisions being made. Because we've submitted petitions to these members of parliament in the millions of signatures, for example. We've signed and written like hundreds of thousands of emails, and we are all the delegates that they are supposed to represent. And I feel like we've just been ignored. I reckon they open up their emails and they just hit select all and delete, like empty inbox.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then people like Fiona Patton, Samantha Ratnam, they'll say, oh, we got tens of thousands of emails, but they're right-wing extremists.
Yeah.
Fiona Ratnam.
And that's where they end it. They're right-wing extremists. They don't even raise any of the concerns, and that's a massive thing, which is just wrong.
Yeah. Fiona broke a lot of people's hearts, man.
What's she done now? She's allowed, apparently she's putting a bill forward. So she puts the bill, she's allowed Daniel Andrews' bill to go forward by voting yes for it. And now she's putting a bill forward where she's going to allow people to have home brothels. I'm not sure if it's just in Victoria. I'm pretty sure it may be just Victoria. Yeah. Like home brothels, like unprotected. And
she's really putting up a bill for D's nuts.
Yes. and it's got nothing to do with health. Like, if we're in a pandemic, how can you allow people to do such things? Like, you're so strong. You speak so strongly about the fact that we're in a pandemic. We need these facilities to be open for people to be taken to, all of that stuff, and that they shouldn't be protesting. They should get $40,000 fines for doing so, putting people at risk. But meanwhile, you're putting forward a legislation.
You know what? One thing that I picked up on before all of this, or as soon as this started to like take shape in terms of how they've rolled out their agenda, I've realized that everything is a contradiction. So like, you have public health officials, but they are the most unhealthy people in the world.
Yeah.
And then you've got people that are trying to pursue, certain policies that are supposed to represent the people, and yet they are completely counterproductive to represent the people. And I think that's why they've been able to create so much division. Like, again, I was talking about the Patriot Act before. The Patriot Act, the word itself sounds patriotic, but it is nothing but, an injustice on people's privacy.
Yeah.
It's completely counterproductive to what it's supposed to represent. And this is how they've caused division. The whole thing is supposed to cause division and conflict. We have the most unhealthy people. We've got people like, what's his name?
Brad Hazard.
Brad Hazard is a complete, like, he's got 15 chins. He's completely unhealthy. He's someone that doesn't represent health, and yet he's making all these health policies. You've got people like Dr. Kerry Chant, and she's got like
Gary. Yeah.
She's got probably a magnificent 6-figure salary, and yet she can't afford to go to the dentist to fix up those teeth.
Yeah.
You've got people like Brett Sutton. He looks like he just rolls out of bed, chucks on a cheap suit, and just talks shit on TV.
Yeah,
you know,
you just see his hair. He's just
true.
Yeah,
I see that as well. I see that like around the world though. I see that in America as well. Like, even like Planned Parenthood is not planning parenthood; it's planning abortions. Like, that's really what it is. Like, everything seems upside down. Like, before, the left used to be the party that was against government and all about like all these other things, and then the right used to be for government and for like conservative values. These days, it's like the left are all in with the government, and then the right is like not. And then you got the people in the middle that are just like, what are you guys doing? And then you got extremes on all ends, which is insane. It's out of this world. And I feel like it seems like it's going in pockets. It's like Melbourne, Sydney, now Northern Territory is getting it like really hard. That Gunner guy, his last name is Gunner. I just realized that.
He's getting a lot of media scrutiny all over the world. That press conference that he did where he said, if you're against mandates, then you are an anti-vaxxer.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Even
bad.
if you've had 2 vaccines, you're against mandate, you are an anti-vaxxer. Like,
What the hell happened there? They became so unhinged. Him and Jackie Lambie, they had that moment that same day where they both went just absolutely bonkers. What was going on? Jackie Lambie
Jackie's
looked
always
like
been a weirdo.
she's going to
though.
have like a moment where her head just turns like Chucky or something.
Jackie's always been a bit of a weirdo, but she was trying to pass a bill back in 2015 of her own son because her son was taking some drugs and he got into ice.
Yeah.
And she made this big ordeal of it. And then she was trying to pass a bill where people over 18 didn't need consent to be put into rehabilitation camps. So if her bill passed then, we'd be screwed. And then her son came out and it was like, I don't know why my mum is doing this. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, I'm not a drug addict. And then her bill didn't pass, she sold a book on her son's like whole thing. And then she did a whole publicity stunt. So she's always been a bit of a rat, like from the get-go. Like, I never trusted her. One nation seats. It's all about bloody money and one nation seats. I can imagine coming home to that at night, eh? That'll be something else. Yeah.
Everyone's asking me, where do you think things are going to go for the next year? But where do you think things are going to go?
Mate, this is what I reckon, all right? I reckon we're all going to get around, have some tea, a shisha, and then we're going to put up some podcast mics, put some lights, a couple cameras, and then we're going to laugh at how unsuccessful this whole entire ordeal was.
Just make fun of it.
Exactly.
Just laugh at them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think back to our resilience. I think we've done this before. We've gotten here, and in 2 years' time, we'll do it again, and it'll be another episode of us laughing and telling everyone to smile.
Smile more.
Smile more.
Smile more.
What do you reckon?
It's a tough one. Like, my opinion is that, look, these camps don't look good at all. And I feel like this bill that's been passed in Victoria.
I don't think the point of them is to look good.
What do you mean?
I think they are meant to look dodgy and like a camp.
Oh, of
Like
course. Yeah, of course.
What did you mean?
Oh, no, I mean like...
They don't look 5 stars. They're 1.5
No,
at best. Like they should do a better job.
No, like, I mean that I feel like the bills that they've passed, the camp, like this time next year, the camps will all be open in all the different states. It will be open.
Yeah.
Bills will pass in a way that if you go out and protest, they'll be able to pass laws where they'll be able to just take you out of your home and say, oh, sorry, you were in a group where there was a close contact with someone else, and unfortunately we have to take you to this camp, and we're not going to let you out until you're either double or triple vax, whatever it is. That's pretty much how I see it. So I feel like it's going to be a different world in terms of the way that we move forward in this movement. Like, it's been very protest driven. Protesting has been the number one thing, but I feel like we may come to a point where we may not be able to do it in such a way, because once people start seeing that people are being taken to these facilities and you never hear of them again, they're going to take a step back and be like, hold up, I don't want to end up like that either. And they're no good being there.
I think in Ireland, I'm not sure, I could be wrong, but I think in Ireland they're already trying to outlaw protests. So
they have actually
this.
In Italy.
Yeah.
They did that, and now the Italians are just holding up signs of vaccine injured people and walking through the streets. They can't protest, which is wild, man. That's scary.
Crazy.
What have you told the people when they ask you what do you think is going to happen in future?
Well, I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place, because the first thing that I think when I get asked that is that I'm just like, well,
when you did the podcast with me, you said they're gonna, what did you say? You said you've been watching so much news and you see their plan going ahead.
Yeah.
Do you still feel that way?
Yeah, I think 100%. Yeah, I feel like we are the like the founding members of being able to slow the agenda. I think we're putting like a bit of we're throwing hurdles in front of them to slow it down, but I don't think we'll ever get to like completely stop it. I think that if we do stop it, it's gonna take some sort of like, I don't want to call it like a violent revolution, but I think things need to get really crazy for things to change. And that's just history dictating it, not me saying it. I think history shows that that's how revolutions really
has
occur.
happened. Yeah.
But at the exact same time, I feel like personally, I'm at the point where if you're feeling like you're not picking a side, then we're very close to the point where it's going to become too late to pick a side. And I hope that people have the self-awareness now to make a decision, and just make a decision. I don't care if you're on the side of supporting what's going on or being completely against it and want to walk with us, as long as you can make a decision. Because the worst part in this whole sort of agenda that we're currently facing is being in the middle, being in that gray area, because this is where you get victimized the most.
Yeah, I feel like what's good is that we've seen a lot more numbers protests as to what we've seen in the past. Like by major numbers, we had, let's say, 300K in Melbourne, like 150.
I think the most in history.
Yeah. So it's great because people that weren't going to protest in the past or speaking up about it, we're finally seeing new faces. And that's a lot of new people. Who knows how many of them will actually decide, you know what, I'm gonna buy a proper camera, I'm gonna get a mic, I'm gonna set up proper studios, or I'm gonna really go hard at this. And I've come across a lot of people at the last protest, like in Melbourne, that just came and said hi. Like, so many of them are starting to get into it.
Yeah.
So it's good to sort of have these milestones in a way where we're fighting. It feels like we're sort of not getting anywhere, but it's really good to have those milestones where it's like, all right, this is something new. This is something that we haven't seen before. And that's going to keep the people speaking out and just keeping the faith going around.
I hope. Why am I the only positive ones? You just have these like hell mad dark outlooks. You just reckon like they're all gonna get like? I reckon we're just gonna be laughing about this. I reckon we've already won.
Oh, I reckon we've already won. But will we be alive to see that? I think that's a big one.
When I was in jail, I can't remember what I was watching, but actually, yeah. So
by we, I mean
this was after I got out of jail. So James O'Keefe said this just last week when he got raided by the FBI because he had Joe Biden's daughter's diary, and he said during a Fox interview, I think it was, he goes, "The process is the punishment." So the process of getting raided, the process of going through all the legal battles, is what is actually the thing that brings, it's soul crushing, the experience.
Yeah.
And for me, like, not going to jail, the subject matter of going to jail wasn't what like offended me. It was the process of getting arrested, getting put in handcuffs, getting thrown into a divvy van, getting taken to these remand centers that are filthy, having to try to make friends and allies with a whole bunch of random people that I would never ever even communicate with. Getting transported to 4 different facilities, trying to get help from people that I knew that were going to be unhelpful. That whole process was what was dehumanizing. Right now, it does feel like we have won. It feels like this is an empowering moment in history for us. But the process to get there is what is not bringing us down, but the process is what is making it hard.
Yeah.
The process is the punishment. We're not getting punished in terms of like, we're not victims. We are resilient, strong individuals. But the process is what they're trying to use to drag us down.
Yeah.
They're trying to drag us down systematically, day by day, hour by hour, minute by minute, through all of these different press conferences and through all of these different change in policies. They're trying to make us feel like, oh, here you go, here's a carrot. Finally, you're going to get your freedoms back on the 15th of December, which is a whole nother subject matter. But then something will happen. Omicron will come up and be like, oh, sorry, guys, maybe we have to change your mind. Sorry, we got your hopes up. That process is the punishment. But what we will ultimately get is something that we have to hold on to.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like we have to focus on different avenues as well, because they're not only trying to take us down with this COVID stuff, they're attacking even in the schools as well with the children, like what they're starting to learn. Like they're starting to learn at such a young age about like sex and how they like, whether they like boys, whether they like girls, questioning their identity at such a young age before they've even hit puberty, like very early on. So what I feel like needs to be done, and I know it will be done, is people expanding outside of this movement and working their way in these sort of industries to speak up about what's going on there as well. Because very soon I feel like they want people to literally have like no gender. They don't want men and they don't want women. They feminize men, like they put them like rap artists or a lot of music artists, TV shows, everything, comedy. They make the men wear dresses and they
Lil
pay them off.
Nas. Yeah, that music video. Remember that?
From the jail. Yeah. Exactly.
That guy from
Young Thug.
What's his name? That guy from what's that boy band?
I know him.
One Direction.
Nah,
One Direction,
yeah.
the one that
Harry
won.
Styles.
Harry Styles,
Yeah, that's
he's
right.
wearing a dress.
Yeah,
during his performance.
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, we need to build our own ecosystems. This is what we're currently doing now. Like we've got this movement now. I think the next step is building our own ecosystems with our communities that we've got. So like I've had a lot of people, especially the mothers, send me messages asking me about whether they're going to take their kids out of school and homeschool them.
Yeah.
I think what we should do is build our own ecosystem where we've got our own community of students that go and learn a curriculum that is not indoctrinating.
You know what's crazy you say that? Did you know I'm working on that?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Because I want that. Because it's whatever they teach you in school, that's just to obviously to indoctrinate you.
Yeah.
You just listen, you take in the information, and then you're in there for years. Then you go to high school, from primary school, high school, and then they tell you have to go to uni. You do uni, you're in a massive debt, so then you have to try and get a job, and then you're in a job full time. So we need to completely turn that around and teach people like actual life lessons, like teach them how to think for themselves, and even potentially how to be creative, and even have these students have their own businesses while they're teaching at school, and they can ask questions. Okay, how do I use a microphone? How do I service a car? How do I do any of this stuff? I feel like that's like really important. Like, what do you guys
Trade.
Trades. Like, what do you think that people should be learning in schools then? Like, if that was to happen, like outside of the indoctrination system. Oh, and also I'll add as well is you need that as well, because they're going to start vaccinating kids 5 to 11 now in Australia.
Yep.
So it's like, and they say, and they'll be like, very soon it'll be like, oh, you can't go to this government school, you can't go to this private school unless your kid's vaccinated. Like, too bad. So we need an alternative for that as well, where you don't discriminate against people's medical choices.
I'd teach them philosophy. I'll put that in. What do you throw in there?
I'd teach them like entrepreneurship, like figure out how to make the thing that you're passionate about into a business and monetize it. Because you can monetize anything. You can literally monetize anything. And that's the bread and butter of everything that I've done in my life. I've always tried to figure out a way to how to make my passion a sustainable way to live. And I think that if anyone can do that, then you don't have to be subjugated to what a boss tells you to do, because you're the boss.
Yeah.
People ask me, what are you doing today? What are you doing tomorrow? I'm like, I'm doing whatever the fuck I want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's 100%. To live on time is everything, right? So if you can control your time, that's the greatest asset.
Yeah. And even like collaboration is very important in terms of that, because that's in school.
Network,
they tell
collaboration,
like it's very selfish school. Like, keep your marks to yourself. You have to do homework to yourself. You have to listen in class, and it's up to you. Whereas the way that people get ahead in the world and make a difference is in companies. Like, the people that run the world are their families. They stick together. So I feel like collaboration is a very big strong point in terms of that as well. Helping people, like having experience in working with each other. So sure, they can learn to be entrepreneurial, but how can they also work together in that? Because we've been made as individuals. Everyone lives in their own home. They do their own thing. So that's why society is today is just very divided. Yeah.
Oh, what's your favorite country?
I used to love Australia, but I'm sick of this shit now. I don't know. I wrote down in my journal, look up on Google any countries that you can't be extradited from and go to that country. Because I just want to be able to do what we're doing, whether it be making scathing political commentary against the government or just breaching public health orders, because screw the public health orders. And just go to those countries. But I don't know. Where's a good country? Like Mexico or something?
Who's that guy that just left for
Max
Mexico?
Max Egan.
Max Egan just left for Mexico, didn't he?
Santos Bonacci as well. He's in Mexico too.
He's in Mexico too? Yeah, Mexico, eh? Mexico seems like a nice place.
Sounds lovely.
But let's try to save Australia before.
Yeah.
Like that's.
No,
like
I agree. My question in my head was, who would you marry, fucking kill? Scott Morrison, Daniel Andrews, or Gunner? But then I came out with that one because that was a terrible question. But just to finish off, bro, and we'll do this in future, 100%. A message that you have for everyone since you've been out, for all the guys of the movement, and then all the guys that are, there are a lot of people that are, don't have followers, but they do amazing things. They might share something here. They might, do paperwork in the back end. There's amazing people out there in this movement. So for all those people that don't get the limelight and in the back end, what do you have to say to them? And for just the general public about yourself since being out?
Well, to all the big players in the movement, and we all know who they are, I feel like for me personally, probably the reason why the story of me going to jail and getting 3 months and getting punished so severely hasn't been given the limelight that I thought it may have deserved is because I think maybe I've come off as someone that I feel like I let a lot of people down as well by like ignoring all the red flags. A lot of people were telling me don't go to Sydney. A lot of people were, trying to discourage me from making decisions that I allowed my ego to drag me into the deep waters where it led me to the circumstances that I ended up facing. And I'm sort of trying to self-reflect and make sure that I make up for the bad decisions that I made, because I don't want to feel like I let the community down.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to recenter myself and make sure that I pivot in a way that will make up for those wrongdoings, but also allow me to pursue a new creative pursuit where I can add value to the community again, because I'm on this sort of this not turning point, but like I'm on that crossroads where I'm trying to decide which route I want to take. So that's probably my message to the big players is that, I didn't hear you back then, but I hear you now. And I want to make sure that I hope that I feel like in time I'll be welcomed back into be able to participate actively with all the big players. I know that there's a few things to play out in terms of the legal ramifications of the decisions that I made. So I'll wait until that is all done and dealt with. But in terms of just the wider community, I've gone through the ringer for the last 20 months. I've gone to jail because of this. And I'm not discouraged. If anything, I'm more resilient than ever. And I hope that this can be an example for other people that feel discouraged and feel depressed and feel like the battle is lost, that, it's not so bad. You'll be able to get through it. There is, as cliched as it is, there is light at the end of the tunnel. You just got to build the intestinal fortitude to not be dragged down by these bastards. And as long as you have that, then you'll be sweet.
Well said. Well said. Do you have a last question, bro, to finish off?
Last question.
The last melon.
That would have been my question.
Oh, yeah?
But are you here to stay?
Am I here to stay?
That's a great question.
Am I here to stay? Am I going to move up that ranking?
Yeah.
I was actually very proud that I came off as the first person on it.
Yeah.
That
was random as well,
Yeah.
because he made sure that we.
I was worried that you would like shuffle it and then drag me towards the end.
Yeah.
So I was really happy that my face stayed at the start. I definitely think that I'm here to stay, but so many things can change between now and whenever the next time we reevaluate that question. I think I'm just taking everything day by day, and then, if I run into a hardship that really forces me to contemplate whether I'm going to participate in this or not, then so be it. But I've gone to jail because of this. I've gone through so many I've had to jump over so many difficult hurdles over the last 20 months, and I'm still here. So I think for now, I'm here to stay, definitely. But let's just see how we go day by day.
He's here to stay.
He's here to stay. Here we go. Here we go. Possibly a golden yoke in future.
Sweet. No, this was amazing. And I just want to give a shout out to Ignite Bar in Guildford, Sydney, for allowing us to be here today. They've been amazing. So guys, if you're around here, definitely check in. The great guys. And they've been amazing for providing this space.
Awesome.
Good to catch up with you guys.
Awesome.
As
And
always,
also,
Bella. As always.
For the people watching, where can they follow you in terms of social medias and?
Just type in Australians versus the agenda. I think the one thing that I'm proud of is that the name has now got like mainstream significance. It was published everywhere. So
Yeah, you're even in Wiki.
yeah, I'm in
Wikipedia.
Wikipedia now. So
I wish
this,
I was
this
there.
stupid name that I
One
came up
day.
with
One day.
August last year has now got that mainstream appeal. And whether it's slandered or whether it's revered, I'm proud of what we've accomplished.
It's made an
love it.
impact.
Yeah.
For sure.
Mate, hey. All right.
See you.
We'll see you guys soon. Peace.